The Canadian Agri-Food Policy Institute is driving bold policy solutions for a resilient Canadian agri-food system and building a stronger future for Canadian agriculture. Visit capi-icpa.com to discover how.
For Real Agriculture, I'm Kelvin Hepner, and pleased to be joined now by poultry veterinarian Dr. Neil Ambrose. Dr. Ambrose works with Sunrise Farms, one of Canada's largest poultry producers. Thanks, Dr. Ambrose, for joining us. It's good to catch up with you again.
Good morning. You're welcome.
First up, I should note for our listeners and viewers that I'm wearing two hats here, both an interviewer hat and also my chicken farmer hat, we get to work with Dr. Ambrose in our barns and on the chicken farm side of our business as well. So, listening to you though, Dr. Ambrose, over the last while, the reporter side of me kind of said there's an issue here that needs covering, and that is the issue of high path avian influenza and getting to the other side of this outbreak that we've been dealing with for several years. Where are we at, I guess, first of all, to set the stage in terms of the high path avian influenza outbreak this fall and the situation right now across Canada?
Well, again, this year, it's had a significant impact, I would say, in multiple provinces across the country: BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, into the Maritimes. So this is now the fourth, going on the fifth winter that we've seen this particular strain of avian influenza sweep not just across Canada, but around the world. Europe is being hit pretty hard right now. The US sees cases. So it's not going away. Perhaps in the past you could have considered that strain would run its course in the wild birds and it would go away, but this one's not. So it's not good.
Are we making any progress, or does it feel like we're making any progress in kind of getting to the other side of it, like you say, having run its course, or maybe coming up with new approaches to fighting it or mitigating it, keeping it out of barns?
No, that's really the frustrating thing that I see, is that the way we approach this is based on policy from essentially the 1950s, and some minor operational things may have changed, maybe kind of how they approach a case, but ultimately it's still the same. It's depopulation with a positive diagnosis, and that to me, it's not sustainable. Something has to change, and there are avian influenza vaccines, commercially licensed vaccines out there, and we've made no progress at all in looking at implementing those into our system. On the basis of trade, all I ever hear is it's because trade agreements that are written with other countries around the world. Well, somehow we have to get past that. It's not good enough anymore to keep saying no, we can't do that, and not turning it around and going, how can we do this? How can we do this? That really has to happen. And it's not just the impact, as devastating it is on the individual farms. It's the upset to the entire production system within Canada. It takes a long time to recover, and we haven't recovered for several years now. It just goes on and on.
Mm-hmm. And even from a taxpayer perspective, the compensation when birds have to be depopulated, there's certainly a taxpayer cost to it as well.
There is, and I know that the Canadian Food Inspection Agency has looked at that cost and is trying to mitigate their costs in a way, but that's the wrong approach too. We're going to cut costs because this is all getting too expensive, but we're not changing the policy that is driving the continuation of those costs. So it doesn't add up to me.
So what is the holdup to having a vaccine against high path avian influenza in Canada? There are other countries around the world that have it, right?
Yes, there are. I think there's probably, about 20 countries that may use vaccine. Some of them long term. Mexico does. China big players on the global scene. But we in North America, because of these trade agreements that we have and with other countries, are that prevents us from doing that, because ultimately, if you vaccinate, then other countries could use that against you as far as trading with you, because then you can't claim that you're even influenza free. So, really, this kind of decision to move ahead with it lies in the halls of government in Ottawa. The people that are out in the field from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, they're not the ones to make those calls. They're operational. But our politicians need to be on this. They need to recognize that this is a problem. And as I say, there has to be a way around this. And that, let's be upfront about this. But our neighbors to the south, they are right now, they're opposed to it, and there's a lot of lobbying there. Because they export a lot of chicken, particularly to China, and I don't think they want to do anything that's could potentially affect that. And so we fall in line behind them there. So.
Could Canada, with our supply management system, not mitigate some of that export risk?
Yeah, I absolutely. Back in 2004, that was my first go around with avian influenza. Back then, there was talk about kind of putting zones in place across the country. So you would be able to section off, let's say the Fraser Valley in British Columbia, and so there would be no export that would come out of there, and you would be able to export from other parts of the country to maintain whatever agreements are in place. Most of the chicken business, it's across the country. It's not just in one particular area. So I think we could. We could get some agreement on that and make that work. But obviously, again, it's in Ottawa. If there is, a country that we have an agreement with, they would have to negotiate that they would accept that, and these types of things. I'm not up to speed on how that works, but it's seemingly there always seems to be resistance to go down that road and deal with it. So.
Mm-hmm. I guess one of the things to drive change, we often have to realize how much pain the status quo is causing before we choose to move in another direction. And you'd think that we're starting to realize after this many years now of this, like you said, this outbreak that we're not getting over, and other countries are experiencing the same thing. Maybe having conversations like this moves us in that direction of having some consensus on that.
I like to think so. It's not that. Within our industry, there's not discussion. I mean, there's a vaccine working group, but there's no progress. There's none. And CFIA intended to do. I will give them a trial in Manitoba at some point. But I think that's prior to this winter, it was dragging on and there was no timelines. I mean, we need action now. As I say, it's been 4 to 5 years now that this has been going on, and we've never fully recovered from that. I have farms that have been hit with avian influenza, and it takes over 2 years, broiler breeder farms, and it takes them over 2 years to get back to full capacity again. How is that sustainable for economically for the farm, and then for our industry too, that's relying on those hatching eggs,
Mm-hmm. And also on the integrity of the supply chain in terms of maintaining a stable supply of chicken and poultry products for Canadians as well.
Absolutely. I mean, supply management does a good job of balancing all that out, but if you take a big chunk out of that system, it's very difficult for us to fill that in. And with the U.S. being hit so hard over the last few years as well, I mean, that takes away our ability to import hatching eggs to support our own system. They're just not there. So it continues to go on, and I think it'd be fair to say everybody, pretty tired of it for sure, and tired of the lack of progress there. to go down that road. I mean, it doesn't. There's lots of talk, but there's no action that I see, and it seems pretty straightforward to me. When if you look at a country like France that implemented in 2023 in their duck sector AI vaccination, and they dropped positive cases by 95+% by vaccinating. And the arguments are made, well, it's not 100%. Well, it's a heck of a lot better than what we're doing right now. So,
finally, then, what do you hope to see as kind of the next step? Is this leadership from the top of the CFIA, from our federal Minister of Agriculture? What needs to happen next?
Yes, to me, that's the level it has to be at. It's the people that make the decisions. We have to move this ahead. There's several commercial effective vaccines out there that have been used for years. They do work. And we have ways of differentiating easily now serological testing from field virus to vaccine virus. It's all there. So there has to be a will to get this done. Biosecurity on our farms, it's not enough, particularly in an area like the Fraser Valley and even what you've seen in Manitoba as well. It's not enough. The virus it's endemic in the wild bird population. Canada essentially is under, I think, 3 major flyways, but the birds are everywhere. We all see them out there, and they come back and forth, twice a year. So it's so it has to be at the top level that we have to drive this ahead. There has to be an understanding, I think, and maybe that's where there's a gap. Industry, does a good job of trying to get the message across, but I don't think we're hitting the top level where it needs to be at.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time. It's good to chat with you. Wearing my reporter hat today, and next time we'll probably be in coveralls in the barn again. Thanks, Dr.
My pleasure. Thank you.